What's up, everybody? It's Coach Dave, and I lift.
Coach Cameron, and I lift.
And welcome to the She Lifts, He Lifts podcast. And tonight, we are talking about the cost of muscle.
Should we show them our muscles?
So you should show them our muscles.
Yeah,
There we go. When I say, so way back, I'm going to say probably about, this is probably about 20 episodes ago or so. Laura, when she was co-hosting with me, she made the comment once muscle was expensive, and it was shortly after that she had other commitments and had to, so we never really dove into it. So it's something that's always been in the back of my mind.
Okay.
When she said it, obviously we weren't talking necessarily financially at that point, although that can come into play when you start to get to a certain level of
financially, that you're not paying the bills to be sick.
I mean, yeah, oh, absolutely, and that's I think where we're going to talk tonight is more, again, not in the I'm trying to get to the bodybuilder, but again, as we usually do to everybody else. The big thing that we talked about first is the energy expenditure, and I really want to bring this up because there have been, when I first got into the fitness business, it was sort of beat into my 1 pound of muscles burns an additional 50 calories at rest.
Yeah.
That may have been slightly over exaggerated.
But it's valuable.
It's a value. It is. I think the number, what we have to learn is, for every pound of muscle, well, 50 calories. I add 10 pounds of muscle. That's 500 calories. I can eat all this more food. Yes and no. It's probably closer to 10 to 15 calories per pound, which is still, once you start adding up and adding muscle, that becomes a lot.
But when you were finding that information out at the beginning, you almost, I don't want to say it's a lie, because it's not a lie.
No.
But we need it to sound big to make it something I want that.
Right.
Absolutely. If I told you it was 3 calories extra, a pound of muscle and burn 3 calories, you'd be like, I'm okay.
Well, it's just like, and I'm going to say, absolutely. I agree with that. And I agree with you. Because it's just like if we put something out, if you put an ad for the gym out that says, come here and you're going to sweat and you're going to pick up heavy things, and everyone's like, God, that sounds awful.
Yeah.
If I come same thing with me. If I put an ad out that says, hey, we're gonna do HIIT training and you're gonna work and you're gonna feel like you're gonna want to puke and blah blah blah. No, you're not gonna go to come work out with me. But if I say, hey, come train like a rock star, have fun, build those are the things that sort of get us sort of the hooks. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is what the job of advertising is to get you at least interested. But the fact that it still burns calories. So let's look what it says. 10 to 15 calories. Again, you add 5 to 10 pounds of muscle. Suddenly, not only is it expensive in the fact from the energy, but it's also now, like you pointed out, your health, your health and doctor bills and hospital visits.
Yeah, the last time I was at a doctor, for anything.
Go ahead.
Hold on, let me think.
Was it back when you had your accident?
The only doctors I go to are follow-up visits because of eye issues, etc.
Right.
I have not been to the point that Jarrettsville Family Care actually removed me as a patient.
Right.
Because I don't go enough, and I have to go do a well visit every year. I don't need a well visit. I'm well. So they've kind of kicked me off their roster, and to come back, I have to have a whole panel of
I'm in the same boat.
Right.
I haven't been to the doctor since I'm going to say 5 years now. I haven't been to the doctor, and the last time I went was sort of at the insistence of someone.
Okay.
That you should go, because I hadn't been prior to that. Probably hadn't been since I really got my health under control.
Right.
So again, think of muscle is expensive. Think of what it's now costing you. It's actually saving you time. It's actually saving you that, because let's face it, the doctor's appointment can be an all-day affair, if not at least a couple hours.
Sure. Worse than going to court.
That's debatable. It does allow you to eat more. It does allow you to have more things. The other thing I think it does personally, and then maybe this is a little anecdotal, there is some science to back this up, is that when I do have my cheesesteak at Bongostos or beers on the weekends, I tend to feel like I don't feel like those calories set me back as much. Obviously, there's some sometimes I know there's sometimes there's some digestive issues.
Oh, definitely. I mean, alcohol, number one,
Right.
it ruins your digestive system.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to like those calories burned, how many calories is it that you're burning per pound? But you have to remember it's per hour also.
Right.
So, that starts to add up and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. And I think the thought of like muscle being expensive, meaning, it's kind of like driving a Porsche
Mm-hmm.
and a little Civic or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. The better ride. So I'm getting the better calorie burn, I'm getting the better this, I'm getting
Mm-hmm.
the better that. I have more muscle, I have better digestion because I'm probably building muscle because I'm taking care of my health and my again digestive system and what I eat and what I put into my body. So yeah, no, I am that would be a great, I hate to use the word gimmick, for the fitness industry to get into
Mm-hmm.
more so, is saying how expensive this is. This is like a Porsche, a Maserati
Mm-hmm.
sitting on your arm rather than a Civic.
We'll go with that.
I can
The
put a Porsche up here.
the other part of it too, I cannot bench press a Porsche yet.
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 I like the word yet.
Maybe a Miata.
Miata.
The next thing is when we get there, because we don't just walk into a gym.
Mm-hmm.
We don't walk into, I always said, the Captain America tanning bed, where he goes into the little iron capsule looking tanning bed thing. They shut him in, a bunch of smoke comes out, and 2 minutes later he comes out looking like Chris Evans. It doesn't happen like that. So there are calories burned building it too.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. What do we know overall is going to be the best calorie burn for our buck? I'm sorry, going to burn the most calories in the long run. Strength training.
For me, it's strength. Yeah, I mean, you're going to get into these anecdotal arguments. Well, I burned 600 calories on the treadmill and I didn't burn 600. You don't know that.
Well, no, and I've said that before. There's no accurate way to track really in or out.
Right.
Really in or out. But let's talk about the out for a second. The treadmills, and no offense to your treadmills or any other gym's treadmills, they're inaccurate. Your Apple Watch or Fitbit or Garmin or Galaxy Watch is not
They're
exactly
close.
accurate.
They're parameters.
They're close. But I'll tell you this, even the other day, so just some FYI, because Cameron knows this story. 2 weeks ago, I decided on Memorial Day weekend to do my class outside because it was a nice morning. Well, it turned out to be a little bit too warm by 9 o'clock in the morning. But everyone was looking at their fitness trackers at the end of the class and said, "Oh, I burned 500, 600 calories." Look, my class is tough. It ain't that tough. Okay, you're not burning 500, but if you burn 3 or 4 where you are strength training, and again, that's a more high intensity strength training. Mm-hmm. That's probably accurate.
But we also forget that the calories out while you're on a treadmill are out for that period of time. Mm-hmm. Muscle continues to repair and burn throughout the day. And that's why we say, like, having muscle on your body is expensive. It's what's going to burn the most calories mm-hmm. on that body all the time. It's there. It's constantly working. Where your cardio session, again, not dishing on the cardio sessions, but that's only working right here and there. So I got to have a strength training workout, and it continues to work.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Woo!
The term for it is EPOC, or excess post-exercise oxygen consumption, or some people actually call it afterburn. If you burn around 300 calories during your workout, let's just say that's what we're doing. When you are strength training, you can burn anywhere from an additional 45 to 80 calories throughout the day from the repair, mm-hmm. from there, of additional calorie burn.
And the more regularly you weight train, mm-hmm. the more you build your EPOC. Mm-hmm. So again, you're building a system within a system. Now, muscles and that calorie burn.
I will admit, and this is where I'm in favor of a little bit of a combination of both. Mm-hmm. During a workout, mm-hmm. you will generally burn more calories in a cardio session than you will in the strength training session. Okay. In the short term, in that immediate session. Mm-hmm. Okay, and this is where I am a little bit common to birth. I burn two on a typical weight, not talking a high intensity, not talking a fitness body pump, Coach Dave's Rockstar Fitness class. What we're talking about, you're going to burn, let's say, 150 to around 250 calories, depending on, and there's a whole lot of factors. I'll get into that in a minute, but depending on all the factors, you are going to burn. That is it. Even with the afterburn, you're around 3. You can do 350 calories again, according, and I'm going tracker to tracker. So whatever, assuming the difference, they're both off for the same. You're going to burn about that in a 40-minute cardio session.
But you're not going to build muscle.
And you're not going to have the same epoch.
Right. So then you're not building strength, mobility. So
mobility might be a little bit debatable.
Yeah, but so one of the things, but a lot of times it doesn't, because people will get on the treadmill and they're just going like
and they're
this.
Shuffling.
They're not doing hip openers. They're not trying to walk backward. They're just shuffling forward. So it's
do you
not
walk backward on the treadmill.
I do. Well, so I don't walk on the treadmill.
Okay, but you do the back.
I do backward walk.
So I don't backward walk.
I pull backwards. So
I do sled pulls, or I do like back pedals, like where I'll sprint, almost like a suicide run, where I'll sprint up to the 10-yard line and back pedal, and then sprint to 20, then back pedal.
Yeah, because I like spin, I don't do any other cardio.
Okay.
I do 2 spin classes a week. That is my cardio max for my body. We can talk about that at another time. But talking about muscle and that epoch and versus cardio, I just need people to understand that you can't cardio life.
No.
There has to be weight training in it. It has to be.
Well, the other part of that too, and then again, we talk about muscle.
But if you get to that calorie comparison, there could be that person out there that's like, oh, I'm going to burn 600 calories. I'm just going to burn 600 calories. So I'll burn 600 calories every single day and not build any muscle, and they don't realize.
But that goes into the point I'm getting ready to make, is that you don't burn 600. If you come in, take 270-pound me for a run. I come in and I walk for 20 minutes for that first day, on that day one, I may burn 300 calories.
Right.
Because that's an effort for me to walk 20 minutes. Over time, that gets easier.
Yes.
The easier something is, the less your heart rate has to increase. So unless you change a variable somewhere.
Right.
Now, there are variables that you can change on the treadmill. You can change the incline. You can change the speed. You can change the duration. There are variables that can be changed. You can backpedal, like you said, or I've seen people do like side shuffles on it too.
Right.
Which seems incredibly dangerous to me, or hilarious. One of the two.
Come on, you've driven a car fast around a turn.
Oh, I've driven a car. Yeah, but I'm talking on a treadmill. So but again, unless you start changing a variable, too many people came and they pick a speed, they stick with it.
They do.
And they don't progressively overload.
Right.
I will also admit, and I think personally, that you get to the max of your progressive overload with cardio much faster than you do with strength training. Yeah, and then we get into the epoch and the additional calories burned and all that other stuff. So again, the muscle, going back to what we said, from an energy standpoint, is very expensive.
Yeah.
It takes it takes calories to maintain it. It takes calories to build it, and it takes more calories to keep pushing it.
Yeah.
Could you burn calories strictly on a treadmill? Absolutely. Again, no one's ever seen a fat marathon runner. They do a lot of cardio. So you can burn calories.
Yeah.
But is that how you want to look? Is that how you want it? The other part of that is cardio, specifically running. Biking gets a little bit better. Elliptical gets a little bit better. Spin gets a lot better, because you are building some muscle in spin.
I love power rides. Big, strong strength rides.
I have taken one of Cameron's spin classes before, on sort of like a dare/bullying.
I didn't bully.
No, it was always everybody else. It was everybody else. Sure. They're like, "Oh, you should come take spin. You should come take spin." So, all right, fine. I'm going to come take spin.
You loved it.
I didn't hate it, but I just not my favorite.
It's not your thing.
It's not my thing.
I get that. And it's just like when someone says, like, what cardio should I do? The one you're going to do.
Right.
I mean, if I tell you to do a treadmill and you hate the treadmill, you're not going to keep up.
We have another member that comes to your spin classes and my strength training classes, and she always tells me about how, I should run. I'm going to run. she'll run 4 miles, then come to one of our classes.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
No.
I don't want to run 4 miles. Now, I'll run my sprint intervals on the treadmill for 20, 25 minutes. Mm-hmm. Again, getting that heart rate up. But again, that's the progressive overload. Mm-hmm. But going back to our strength training and the progressive overload part, when you increase your EPOC, you are also increasing your cardio. You are increasing your cardiovascular health by lifting weights.
Yes.
Yes. And so is there a place in a well-designed training program for cardio? Absolutely. It definitely is. The heart is the most important muscle. I say that all the time. But if I have to skip one that day, it's going to be the cardio. It is not going to be my lift.
Not lift.
No?
Not.
One of my favorite fitness celebrities, John Cena.
Okay.
Oh. Do you know who that is?
I've heard of him once or twice.
Okay, making sure. You'd be surprised. Actually, he's gotten more popular recently. But he said one time, prior to like 2018-ish, when he really started to transition out of wrestling and more into Hollywood, he started.
Oh, he's that wrestling guy.
Yeah, he's a wrestling guy with the spinning belt. He said his idea of cardio was lifting weights faster.
And I mean, you can admit, I mean, I get winded in my workouts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you are working your cardiovascular system, no doubt about it. It's just a different manner. It's just a different way.
And you absolutely can. And mine are the same way. Matter of fact, my one little dirty secret is some of the workouts are toned down versions of things that I do when I'm actively training for competitions. And sometimes I actually did one of my workout. I did the exact same workout that I did on a Thursday night class on a Friday day because I was getting ready for competition. I just changed. Obviously, I made the weights a little bit heavier, but I was like, God, I'm an asshole. Like it killed me.
When we do our own class, we're like, oh, whoops!
I can't believe they did that.
You know another reason why I lift weights?
Why?
Because I like to eat food.
Well, that's what we said. It's expensive. The more you eat, the more you lift. And again, think of where you are in your fitness journey right now. Now, we come from a little bit of two different fitness journeys too, because you've told me before that you were very slender growing up.
I was slender growing up. I wasn't athletic. I rode horses. I mean, my brother called me Thunder Thighs. But,
okay.
You know. Yeah, I mean, I'm just your average person. I didn't like sports. I only played sports because my boyfriends played sports.
Right.
You know, I played basketball. I'm almost 6 foot tall, and I got cut from basketball. You know, it's like, what's wrong with this picture? I was short, and I had a growth spurt. But I wasn't. I was at North Hartford. I mean, Tom Riley chased me because I was walking the mile. My brother was the sports enthusiast. He was the soccer player. He went to England to play soccer. He was the thing. So I was just like, I'll just ride horses. I'll do this. I'll do that. And like I said, like I really honestly only own a gym because I'm married to Darren.
But you've also never been overweight, really, have you, in your life?
No, I mean, I did. So with my pregnancy of my first child, Brody, I did the whole typical mentality where I sat there and said, I'm eating for 2.
Right.
All right. So I got up to 215 pounds.
At 6 foot, almost 6 foot tall.
I'm 5'11".
Okay.
But still, I went from 170 to 215. That is, and then when you have a baby, the hips are wider and everything.
Right.
And, you know, I gradually brought it back. With Carly, my situation was different. I was in a car accident, so I wasn't gaining weight at all. But I've never been a skinny person.
Okay.
I've always had, I mean, I can remember, and I'm going to call him out. Jimmy Birkins grabbed my arm in middle school, and he says, damn, girl, you got an arm like a boy. You know? I've just always been husky in a sense, but never, if I sit down and there's a time where I may have looked slender, but I wasn't muscular.
Okay.
All right. So like my body mass, my muscle mass from lifting has changed the way my body looks. I had a sled ass, flat, no rear end. I remember I met Darren and he's like, do you work out? And I didn't at the time. I was just doing Billy Blank's Taibo at Hanley's Fitness. And I lied. I was like, yeah, I work out all the time. And he's like, your butt doesn't show that. So immediately he takes
and you married him anyway.
he takes me in and we do squats. Oh my gosh.
Right.
You know, so then we started building a butt. But so no, I mean, I just come from your average Joe. And that's why like I always stress to people, like I come from average. I don't come from a fitness family.
Mm-hmm.
I don't come from a runner family. I don't come from any of that. So when you're talking to me, you're talking layman's terms. I get you.
And I'm very similar, other than the fact that I got weight, the incredible weight gain. I was athletic.
Okay.
I was at the cross, I played ice hockey, got my MMA, wrestling, all of that stuff. When I got to the point where basically I realized that this is never going to be a long-term thing in my life, and I stopped cold turkey. The thing that where I find muscle being expensive is in the mental fortitude that it takes to get to the gym. And it's a thing that I really, and again, we've talked about this before personally, is why I call my business Rockstar Fitness, because I want to instill that rockstar confidence into people, because that has changed more than physical. I just posted a picture on my personal page today of a professional shot that I got taken last night, and physically, like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like I looked at him like, damn, I look good, but
you had a guy asking you for breakfast.
I did. That's one of my best friends say would, but I was hungry when he said that. I was like,
Maybe.
I was like, yeah, where you want to be? Oh no, wait. But the thing that you can't see, and no matter how many pictures I post, the thing that it has really cost me is the mental fortitude that it's taken to get to the gym each and every day, even prior to working in the gym. 4 days a week, I was usually strength training. 1 day a week, I was usually either doing yoga and or cardio. Okay, so really, to the discipline that it's taken, the investment in yourself, and I think that is one thing that we really don't talk about enough, is that this is an investment in yourself. You're a business person. You have two things: you have your investments and you have your expenses. An expense. What's an expense for you?
Well, I mean, I have electric. I have
right things that will never truly give you a benefit.
Right.
Okay. What was an investment for you recently?
And well, I mean, I can't tell my newest because it's a secret.
I'm just going to talk about my smoothie machine.
Oh, my smoothie machine.
Right. Your smoothie machine now is something that can actually benefit the business in the long term. The muscle can benefit you in the long term because it's expensive. Because just like an investment, it has a yield to it, a caloric yield that if you do it right and do it in a smart way. That's a quick transition into the next part of this. It can yield large returns, not only physically, mentally, and health wise.
Well, mental aspect. I know we all, the world is struggling with mental issues, and I mean, I hate to say that, women especially, I'm going to go after the women. You know, they look in the mirror and they don't find value in themselves because they don't feel pretty or look pretty. And I'm not saying that you being smaller should make you feel more value in yourself, but for whatever reason, it does. When we take care of ourselves and we are more attractive in our own eyes. And again, like I tell women all the time, do this for you. Do this because when you look in the mirror, you want to see happiness. You want to see what you've designed in your head, not what everybody else has, but what you've designed. But it means that you're going to have to put in that effort.
I'm going to come back to that in a minute.
Okay.
But like I said, we want to work smarter, make the investment again, just like throwing money at any random stock. We're going to have some sort of thing that is going to yield us. So what's going to yield us the most return? It's the thing that I always talk about, the thing that I always preach, the thing that I come in here once a week, soon to be twice, by the way, and teach. And that is your compound lifts. That is your heavy, your bench press, your squat, your deadlift, your rows, your shoulder presses. People throw pull-ups into that list too. I have a harder time teaching most of our clients pull-ups.
Pull-ups are hard.
Pull-ups are hard. I'll bet you Carolyn can do a push-up.
I bet.
Or a pull-up.
She can.
I'll bet you she could.
Bet she can.
I'll bet you she could. 76
now
years
you're
old.
Gonna challenge her.
Let's see you do a pull-up, girl.
Well, and again, if you give them the assist, the bands, like being a great trainer.
Oh, and I absolutely would.
We have all these ways to get you to do things.
But again, those are going to yield the best return.
Yeah.
You're going to burn roughly 4 to 6 calories, depending on the lift, per minute of doing one of those exercises. So the more you can bench press, the more you can squat, the more you can deadlift, the more calories you're going to ultimately burn, not just in your EPOC, not just in the muscle that you're going to carry, but also while you're doing it. You factor in some isolation movements and maybe some conditioning movements with that, you can burn a good 250, 300 calories in a good solid workout that won't wear you out for the rest of the day, because let's face it, most of us still have lives once we are out of the gym.
Do we?
Well, our lives are in the gym, so
Yeah.
we're bad examples, but yes.
I'll be back here again tonight. Well, so just on a point of that, I'm going to do a little hashtag for personal training. A lot of times people do not want to invest in their muscle by getting personal training. They think they can do it on their own. And I just remind people that we're knowledgeable because this is our life. This is like what just like an accountant is going to do all the right accounting things. They're going to know the loopholes. They're going to know what to do. We know all the tricks. Someone who can't do a pull-up, we can throw you on band assist. We can do this, we can do that. How to build up strength here. We know how to get that there. And I think people struggle because they buy a membership anywhere. They go in thinking that just coming in the building and just doing some things is going to make the changes, and they don't see that, so then they don't value the expense that they've paid towards that. And you just need a little bit of help. And this is, where I'll say cut out a soda, save that money, different things.
Well, and that's what when people,
to
and
get training,
and people, I've seen that. I'm glad you said that, because I've seen people when they sit down and are having, and whether in a training perspective or even in my personal life, I have this gym membership that I'm not using.
Right.
Okay, I can cut that out as an expense.
Right.
Wait, why would you cut that out? Why would you cut out your $10?
You're not investing in the expensive muscle.
That $10 a month Planet Fitness that could bring you some mental relief. So change your physical health.
Yeah.
And again, the more you go the more you go down the more you go to the gym, the more you want to make those things. So you start making other changes.
You do.
I'm gonna say this: if you ever want to learn about how to influence somebody's behavior, you know what industry you can look at and would shock you how much you could learn from it? Is the video game industry.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
Well, and there are positives and negatives to everything that we talk about. But one of the things that more recently, remember when we were kids, we sit there and play Asteroids, or we'd play Missile Command, or even Super Mario Brothers, where we basically just sat there with a controller and blew things up for 20 minutes till we got bored and turned it off. Okay. Nowadays, these games have these little, and this is really, again, something you can take away. They have these little tasks that you have to assign, and the more you complete them, you level up, you get bonus points and bonus gadgets and armor and weapons, and then you continue to progress. That's pretty much going to the gym, by the way. And if you can get someone to see one little result, and want to continue to invest, and then again, going into what we talk here, the analogy that we're making, if you put a little bit of money into a stock, into an investment, and all of a sudden it returns a little bit, well, how much more can I invest? Yeah. So you invest a little bit more. Now you get a bigger investment. The same thing goes with your muscle. Invest a little bit of time, then start.
It's a bank account,
right?
Keep depositing.
I feel like this is a Tipsy Tuesday.
Tipsy Tuesday,
right?
Stop.
That's a good one. But again, I think this is where we talk about about cost versus investment. I really think we have to start looking at fitness as not just a cost, and this is actually not where I wanted to go with this episode at all. But we really went into it, where I really think if we look at fitness as an investment in our health and in ourself, and not this expense or this task that we have to do.
Right.
One of my clients who came to me, she was the first client that I ever actually put into my coaching program. From this show. She's been training with me since August. I want to say since shortly after the second episode aired. She's down 65 pounds as of today. She
Go,
just checked
girl.
in. She just logged in her app this morning. She's down 65 pounds from this morning, as of this morning. She made the comment to me. She goes, I used to think that I had to go work out. She goes, now I'm lucky.
Want to.
She wants to, and she gets to. She goes, I'm not in, she goes, yeah, I was overweight. Yeah, I had some issues. She goes, my joint pains is coming down. I'm able to chase my grandkids around better. She's able to go upstairs better.
Mm-hmm.
Again, she's not looking like a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
But she is progressing in that I say the sport of life all the time, and getting to a place where she is comfortable with herself, comfortable with going to the gym. And we had a call Monday night. She told me Monday night, she goes, I used to dread walking to the gym. I used to sit in the parking lot for 5 minutes and have to talk myself into going in. Now I go into the gym and I look at this and I said, I don't even know what this is, but I'm going to do it anyway.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
Ginger, shout out to you.
Yeah, Ginger.
So, but again, we just need to look at that as an investment. Yes, it's expensive. Yes, it takes effort. What is it going to cost? It's going to cost some time. It's going to cost, but at the end, it's also going to cost you energy, and it's going to yield one hell of a return.
It is.
So, that was a completely not exactly where I wanted to go, but I'm glad we went there. So, join us next week. Carol should be back.
She should be.
She should
if
be.
If not, I'm here for you.
Okay. I will let you know, but I'm pretty sure Carol said she would be back next week, and we are going to talk about, and I think
I might like this topic.
You might disagree with me on that.
Uh-oh.
The ways that a calorie is not all calories are created equal.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
Lots of them.
So we're going to talk about that, and two big things I'm going to, if you guys want to sort of get a little ahead of time research that I'm going to do this week, look up the thermic effect of food and the glycemic index, and we'll talk about
glycemic index.
We'll talk about all of that next week and how that everything has its place, and we will find a way to get your nutrition in check. Until next week, check out Cameron at Model A Fitness on Facebook and Instagram. Check me out, dwebster023 on Instagram, Rockstar Fitness on Facebook, Coach Dave's Country Kitchen on YouTube. Follow the show on Facebook and Instagram. And until next week, ladies and gentlemen,